filler is now dry on these front portholes, so I've just got a little bit of sandpaper just to get in there, in between the details that we don't want to remove. And that should be enough. There we go. And then we'll see what that looks like under primer, but I think we might just get away with that as it is. So that's shaping up nicely. Okay, so we have more work to do. As we go through this, let me just get something pointy. So we have done pipework here, we've put those on. As you can see, that is in that's the 1939 position, and it had moved by 1943. But even if you look at the 1943 picture, it's a slightly different shape and size. I mean, you could probably make it a bit shorter and that might square it up a little bit, but anyway, working with what we've got. We've got those in, we've still got those to put in, although I have done them on the other side. We've got that, although it's a hatch here, I'm leaving it like that. I don't believe I've got enough of these in the photo etch set to put that on, but we'll double check it. But between that and the door, we can see that we've got more pipe work. So there's another 3 of these to put in here. But here's where we've got the major problem. If you can see that and that there, let me see if I can get you a bit closer and keep it in camera. We've got 2 ventilators that are completely missing. So this in the background is there, but on here we have 2 ventilators, which we're going to have to fabricate out of stock. Then we've got a reel to put on, which we can take either from the photo etch set or the 3D printed set. I'm thinking possibly the 3D printed one here. We've got hand rungs to put on, and then we've got to fabricate these 2 little boxes with a little bit of pipe coming out of them, which we can do by making the boxes and then doing the pipe work. Then we've got more missing hatches, and again there's not enough in the photo etch to put those on, or these. I think that's a loudspeaker, and we might be able to make something to do that if we can get a better look at it. And then we've got the metal boxes, although they are slightly incorrect, to go down there. And if we can get a piece of wire thin enough, we can put a lamp in there, and then a lamp in above that door, and have a wire running between it. So there's a fair amount of detail work to do. And then there is what looks like some form of locker, which we might have to add on later when we've confirmed we've not got one in the kit parts, and that'll go just about there, with the ladder going in this space. So there's all sorts of little bits that we need to do, and I think the scratch building is probably the next thing to do. So the little lamps like we made up before, we need to cut some of those. So let's just count how many we need. So far we've just done that one. There isn't a lamp above that one. So we need 1, 2, 3 lamps. And then we need 1, 2, 3, 4 boxes. Okay, so that all sort of seems fairly straightforward. So let's do the plastic rod work next, and then we'll have a look at doing the ventilators. little hard to see, but there is two ventilators there, a larger one and a smaller one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this plastic stock, glue it together to make two L shapes, one larger than the other, and we will let that dry, and then we will shape them to be like the ventilators. Now on the other side, you can see, if I just take you out a little bit, you can see in this picture here there is a ventilator on the other side which is completely different shape, so we'll glue bits together to make that as well. You can see it better in the line drawing if I zoom you in there, so you can see it's a big one, and you know, we need to make out of this, so you need to glue several together. Though actually I might have, I've got some box section which that would be better, although it is hollow, so I'll have to fill it, but it's about the right depth at the top. So one, yeah, we could possibly do that. So let's have a look at making up that profile. The length, it's only about half the thickness of the of what it's sat on, so that's easy to measure. We can just put the part up against where it's going and cut a section out. So if I cut this much off, that's larger than we need. So put that there, I think. And then another one the same length next to it. That ended up being a bit longer, but it doesn't matter. And then we'll want one overlapping, right, okay, so another two. So if we just glue those together, so I'm just going to use extra thin, not the quick drying particularly. There we go. So that's forming the base. And then we want this to overlap on the bottom. Like about halfway, I think. Make sure it's straight. And then we'll put this other box section, if I just put it on there. And we glue that in place. And we have to form a curve out of the back, so I'm going to put this solid strip in at the back, which will allow us to shape rather than trying to fill it and then sand the filling. Right, so that forms a big clump, but it's basically the profile of my ventilator. And what we can do is we can shape it all. We can either put some plastic card on the end once we've cut it all to length, or we can fill it, whichever, before painting. So that's that one done. A little bit simpler on the other side because we're not going to use box section for that. So if I put that one to one side to dry, so let me flick over to the page. There we go, and that's our line drawing for that one there. So we want two glued on top of each other for that one. So that's nice and easy. This stuff dries super quickly, so there we go. Now the plastic card here is about the right width for the widest part of the ventilator, so all we've got to do is shape it. Yeah, we can just about do that with that one. So that's another ventilator roughed out. This one we'll do it's a bit higher for a start, but the two pieces I think will be enough. So we'll glue one on top of the other to start with. Then we need another one for the front and another one on top. Okay, that should be the big ventilator on this side roughed out. So we'll just let it all dry so it's nice and solid, and then we can carefully start sanding it all into shape. So okay, so now we can cut a bit of that off. Let me get my cutting mat. Just move that out of the way. Okay. How many lamps did we need? 3. So I reckon if we're careful we can get all 3 out of this. 1. It's cutting them square, which is always the challenge. There we go. 3 lamps. So I think the important thing is to glue those lamps into place before they disappear. because they're so tiny. So let's do that. I think they're ever so slightly deep, so I'm just gonna thin them down. I don't want them sticking out too proud. Just cut a strip off the back, there we go. But with stuff like this, even if you don't do the wiring to it, the fact that you've got little lamps on there just adds to it. And we can pick these out in a different colour. So we could paint them silver or something like that, so it's very clear that that's what they are. There we go. And then we've got one above this door here. Putting the glue on the part. There we go. And then the last lamp is going on the end here. So about there. There we go. They might be slightly oversized, but at least they're uniform. So that's our three little lamps on. Next thing we need to think about is we can do the pipe work. So we can run the pipe work up and put the twist in, and it terminates just underneath there. Yeah. So it looks like there's a cable run that we've got missing, which carries on from this cable run here. So it goes across and then goes up here before these windows, and then goes along here. Need to, I think, under just is that? Don't know. Need to have a look, and I think what we need to do is draw some stuff on so we understand the relationship of everything, because some of the spacings might be wrong due to the kit. So I'm going to draw some bits on and then I can take you through it. What we needed to make the two little lumps above that window, they're not lights, so I think there must be some form of junction box or something. They have a little pipe that comes out of them at the top of each one. So we've just been slicing away at lumps of white card to get that. Okay, that looks pretty cool. So we're not far off being able to do the cable runs and things now. We've got them drawn on. What I need to do is see how that goes. I think it runs right across and then comes round onto this side. So I just need to have a look at that and then find some wire suitable. So yeah, everything's sort of marked out for this section now. So with that in mind, I think we can also look at the photo etch that goes under there, and there is a part to go here. And do we need to be filling these if we're putting photo etch on? So there's a few little things we need to sort out there. So I'm going to start by putting the curve on the back here. So it's a little bit tricky because it's quite small. But you can see plastic card is quite easy to work with. So we've quickly been able to get that shape in. So I just need to do that along the full length. Okay. And then we need to get the width right. So this is about 3 times as long as we need. Just making up ventilators out of bits of plastic rod. This is 2 bits of rod stuck together. You can probably just about see the join there. And then we've shaped the back end. And then the only thing we've got left to do is just narrow this part here. So we're going to do that with a sanding stick. There we go, nearly. Yeah, just starting. You can just about see the line there, bit of a witness. So we just have to deepen that a little bit, and then we should be good. Let's just go a little bit coarser, take it back a bit more quickly. Yeah, so it'll take a moment or two. I think now we've got that line cut out, it'll be easier for the file to follow. So the only thing I've got to do now is just smarten up the sides and get that width right. And you can see the side profile there. So that looks fine to me. That's done now. So that's the smaller one done, which I guess in many ways is the easier one. Yeah, happy with that. So I'll crack on and get the others done. Right, ventilators are the extra ones that weren't included in the kit. They've been made now. So all I've got to do is glue them on. He says, just taking away a little bit of dust. So we'll put this one large one on this side. There we go. So we can glue it down onto the base there, and it's actually pushed against the bulkhead, so we can glue it in against the bulkhead as well. So that's that one. And then on this side we have two smaller ones. These ones will be just a little bit more difficult to install because they're not actually against the bulkhead here. There we go, that's the first one on. And then the smaller one goes on right behind it like that. There you go, that makes a difference. Right, I think some fine wire now for the wiring looms. We've also got steps to put in, so let's look at putting the steps in and the hose reel. Starting with our hose reels, just going to nip a couple off. We've got one to go on each side. And there we go, that's one. And that's another one. Right, we can get that put back in its box. Okay, get that out of the way. So they're quite easy to clean up, but also at the same time a little bit messy really, because you get all these little shards that you've then got to get rid of. But we're just gonna slice them away from the back, which is good because that's our gluing surface, so we're not going to see these. There we go, so that's our first one. And our second one. So let's get those secured on. Small amount of medium CA. There we go. That's that first one on. And we flip over to the other side. Just have to make sure we put it on the right way around and not upside down. Sort of thing I sometimes don't realise until I come to paint it. Right, so that's that on. On this side we've got a door to add, so let's do that while we're here. So hand irons next. These are the little welded on steps that you get running up the bulkheads. And what we're going to do is we're going to fold them first, and then we're going to remove them to glue them on, because it's much more difficult to fold these afterwards. The benefit of the folded types is they are much easier to put in place. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so we're simply going to use a razor blade, and we put it in the fold and then flip up the step. So let's see if we can get you in a bit closer so you can see what I'm doing. Right, let's get you in shot. There we go. So where we've got the bend line on the part, we're going to put the razor blade, and then I'm just going to use my cutting tool here to lever it up. There we go. And when it's at 90 degrees, then your fold's good. And this saves you so much time. Trying to fold them once you've cut them out is an utter nightmare. So that's the first row done, and then what we'll do is we'll cut them out as we need them. So we'll take one off, get a pair of tweezers, there we go. Then we can just dip the ends in a little bit of CA. And we put the part on. Don't know if that's actually stayed in focus, but there you go. See if we take you out, it might focus better. There you go, you can see that's on. So that's all there is to this. It's fold, cut out, glue on. Bit repetitive because we've got several to do. So we'll do another one and then I'll do the rest off camera. So, okay. They are terribly fiddly, these things. Well, you get the idea. So I'll carry on. I'll come back to you when we're doing the next thing. Right, cutting more very thin copper wire to glue into place, and using thin CA to place it. It's always a bit tricky when you're using thin CA because it's much more difficult to apply than medium. I think it's probably why I use medium so much, because it's just easier to work with. But on something very fine like that, the medium CA is going to drown it. Right, okay, so we then need a long piece. And I've not got a piece long enough to go all the way around, and it's difficult to keep it straight, so we'll cut a section and terminate it at the corner there, and then just join it up. I'll just re-straighten that as best we can. You can see, even though I'm dipping it in the glue, it still doesn't want to bond. So I'm ending up placing the part where I want it, and then gluing it in situ. It is really tricky. But we'll get there in the end. There we go, that's that piece on. Right, we've got some pipework to put in place here. So let's just have a look at that. So same real process as before. Let's get my other tweezers, wherever they are. We'll just start by making our bend at the top. We'll shorten that a little bit. So that runs right next to the door there and terminates there. So we can use medium CA on this. And I'm just going to spread it down the length. Just get that to bond for a sec. There we go, that's the first one on. The lead wire is really easy to work with, and what we'll do when that's fully bonded in a moment or two is we'll just trim it again at the bottom so it's nice and flush and not going to get in the way of anything. Right, so our next curve has to be a little bit bigger. So I'm just going to use this rolling tool for forming a nice curve. There we go. Gives us a nice uniform curve there, and then we'll straighten our wire. We'll just dry fit that. Yeah, that's nice. So we can trim the bottom once again, and we'll trim the top in a moment. So our next pipe will go up one more level on our roller and see if that's big enough. There we go. We've got too much glue on there, so we'll just take some off. Okay, that's looking really good, happy with that. And then we've got another one to put here. You can see I've drawn it in. So again, we can do this one with tweezers. We'll just bend that around like so. Trim the length of that. and that's also ready for gluing on. So you can see it's not a difficult or time-consuming process, particularly doing this. If you're using the right materials, this would take longer if we were using a hard wire. We'd probably have to heat it up and what have you, but working with the lead wire is really easy, really nice. So we should now be able to trim these. Let's just get this out of the way for a moment. And what I want to do is just level this pipework so that they're all the same length. I'm going to need to use a different knife. There we go, nice and uniform, and we can trim away the ends there. There, and that's missing pipework on, and it looks so much better for having added it on. Right, let's have a look at what's going on in this area here. Right, looking at the instructions for the structures that go around here, we've got two of them, little sort of platforms, and we have photo etch for these in the instructions. So it's made up of that platform and that cross section there. And when you look at the MK1's instructions, we have this platform here, which is far better looking, and we have separate cages, which are these here, but there's no reference on the instructions for the little cross members. So they give you A58 and G105, but you can see there's a cross member in there. So you're sort of then assuming that it's the kit part. But when you look here, 65, that looks remarkably like the kit part. So I'm not, I am not sure. I am not sure, and my gut feel is don't use it in case it's for something else and you've just not come across it. So I'm going to have a quick scan of the instructions, see if I can find it and prove it to me one way or the other. If not, I think we'll use the kit part just to be safe. Well, I can't find 65 on the instructions anywhere, so what I've decided I'm going to do is fold one and see if it fits. Well, that certainly looks like the right part. Let's see how it fits. Yeah, I think it's the right part because it fits, but I don't like the look of it because you've got these little folded dashes on it. Let's see if I can get that to focus. You've got little lumps on the side where the folds are, so I think I prefer the kit parts, so I'm not going to use that. But I will put it to one side. I have a little tin where I keep bits of photo etch, and we'll put that to one side just in case we need it in the future for something else and we didn't realise, but I don't think so. I think we're going to use the kit parts for that. So we can take the kit parts out and put them in, and then we can look at putting in the improved base plates. Let's get rid of that. So we'll just take 2 out for now. I hate this plastic film. The number of parts I've deformed because of this damn stuff. There we go. So that's our 2 parts there. So let's get them installed. Not sure I've tidied that up properly at the top. There we go. We'll do a test fit first, as always. Yeah, your only real location point is at the bottom, so as long as you you get that in and it looks visually straight, you're good. That's the first one on. I hate it when that happens. Let's try again. That looks straight to me. Right, I'll cut the other parts out and then I'll come back to you. Right, we have to fold these platforms. So we can do that with our Tamiya tweezers, I think, in the main. The tweezers are a bit limited. When you've got to fold something into a box shape, that's when you come undone a little bit with the tweezers, so I need my folding tool actually. There we go. And then we've got these back ones to do, so 2 little tabs at the back. Okay, so that forms our platform, and that needs to go, where's my tweezers? It needs to go either side. It sort of slots into place over the support there. like so. So just going to make sure we've got that nice and flat. I think we have. So let's see if we can put that on. There we go. A bit of medium CA. There we go. Make sure I've got them square. Okay, that's our first platform on. Then I have a little frame that goes around it. That doesn't fit quite so well. Let me just have a look at the width of it. Yeah, it's the same width as the platform, so that's engineered wrong. Let's have a look at the kit parts. So looking at the kit parts, they look like they might be a fraction wider. So I think if we separate the cage from its base and fold it, we can get an idea as to whether that might fit better. So fundamentally they look the same. Right, let's have a go at fitting that. I've got a suspicion this might fit better. Yeah, look at that. Yeah, well, that's definitely the way to go. Okay, so I've just bent them in slightly so that the fit will be nice and tight. And what we're going to do is we're going to put a little bit of adhesive just on the back end of the platform there, which should be enough to hold it in place, and then we'll put some thin CA in afterwards. There we go, that's in place. And then if we get some thin and just put that in on the joints. Okay, that's our first platform in. Happy with that. Another 3 of those to do. So I'll crack on with that, and then we've got some more plastic parts to put in, some more irons, and a lot more wriggles as well. So we need to do the wriggles around this area before we do anything else, before we put the cage on. So I'm going to complete that. You don't need to see me do that. And then we've nearly done this one side, and we'll be ready for painting on this side below here. So what we'll do is we'll finish this side, move around the front, do the other side, and then we need to look at the mess that is this deck area here, and decide what we want to do to make that at least look a little bit more like the real thing.
Thanks for watching. Please hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't done so. It's free, and that way you won't miss my first impressions, my tool reviews, my product reviews, and any of my builds, including wooden model kits as well as plastic. It's all free, and if you'd like to support the channel, you can hit my PayPal link in the text below. Every pound goes straight into the channel to keep the cameras rolling and to do more fun stuff for you to watch.